So welcome everybody. We're learning Kitzur, the abridged code of Jewish law, chapter 12. But before we begin, I just wanted to share something which I share every year. So I may have mentioned to you last year. So I apologize if you heard it already. But there was a gentleman that I had the pleasure to get to know that unfortunately his mother's mother, married someone who wasn't Jewish. They then had a child, a girl, who obviously was Jewish because their mother was Jewish, but they didn't not consider themselves Jewish. And they went and married someone who was not Jewish. And then this lady then had a boy who they named John. May have had other children also. I'm not really actually not sure. And John certainly did not consider himself Jewish, even though his mother's Jewish, so he was Jewish. So he grew up, and by the time he was in his teens, he lived in an area where there were Jews, and he had Jewish friends or acquaintances, and so he did know that his grandmother was Jewish, and he did also know that Judaism considers him Jewish, but he did not think of himself as Jewish. And he went to college. He got mixed up in the wrong crowds while in college, and he became a biker. And not just that he enjoyed riding motorbikes, we mean that he was actually involved in a criminal organization. And as before he dropped out of college, he did a year or two of chemistry. He was the chief drug maker. And he got married, had kids, that was his life. So he went to prison for attempted murder. In prison, he actually, for the first time in his life, actually stopped and thought about his life and realized how he's living his life, where he's heading, what he's done with his life. And he realized that when he gets out, he really needs to change his life around. And so I'm not sure exactly how long he was there, but he did get out early with good behavior. And he left the gang, and he lived a regular, more calm life. So fast forward 10 to 15 years, and the shul where I was the rabbi, a place called Parramatta, it was during the Second Lebanon War. It got attacked. I mean, when I say the shul got attacked, their house, we didn't even realize it happened till it was all over. So it's a bit of a funny story. Also, I was sitting downstairs on the couch. I wanted to go up to bed, but I was too tired. I was too tired to walk up the stairs. It'd been one of those days. I'm sitting on the couch like half asleep. And these people from the other side of the fence, they're throwing cement blocks. And it's landing on the roof of the house. And it's going bang, bang. And I thought it was, my kids were little then. I thought they were banging upstairs. But I was too tired to do anything about it. Then one of the cement blocks went through. We had a glass sliding door at the back. It went through the glass sliding door, smashed it. And in my half sleep days, I thought the kids had banged upstairs so much, one of the light fittings had come down. So I pulled myself up to go shout at the kids for breaking things. I turn on the light. I see there's no back door anymore. I step through the frame, and I see people running away. Right? So it was all over before we even realized before anything happened. And when I get interviewed by one of the newspapers, I got a lot of interviews. But anyway, I jokingly said to one of the newspaper reporters, either it was a hit and run, they just did it quick and ran away, or I must look scary in my pajamas. So in the newspaper report, it says, I've got the clipping, and Rabbi Wernick, who said he looked scary in his pajamas, said, and as that what happened. But anyway, I got interviewed on the television, wasn't much to say because, like I said, it was all over before I even realized it happened. So this John fellow, he saw the television interview, and he realizes that the shul is actually not far from his house. It's very close. It's actually walking distance. And so he knew he was Jewish. He never knew about the synagogue before. He says, you know what? He gave us a call. So he gave us a call. We had a nice chat with him. It took probably about 6 months from the time we first spoke to him to actually get him to step foot in the door. But once he stepped foot in the door, within a year, he had kashed his house, he put up mezuzahs, he bought tefillin, and he was coming to the shul every day, and he was volunteering in our day school, working in the office. And he was at that point of his life, very nice, friendly, soft-spoken, wonderful with the kids. And, if I would have known his whole past, we may not have initially accepted him to be volunteering in the school. But by the time we knew everything, he'd been there for a while. So after being involved in the shul for close to 2 years, he was diagnosed, quite advanced cancer. And he was slowly going down. And he wasn't involved, didn't have contact with his family. His wife and kids, not Jewish wife, kids from before he went to prison. And he wanted to make arrangements with the Chevra Kadisha. So he asked if I would go with him. I said, sure. So we made a time. He came over to my house. He brought a sum of money to pay for it. And we were going to go the next morning. And the next morning he didn't come, and gave him a call, didn't answer. I figured he got busy because I'd just seen him yesterday. He seemed pretty good. And not so long ago, we'd been at the Purim Sukkah party, and he was, reasonably good. But then a few hours later, we got a phone call from a neighbor that he collapsed, and they take him to hospital. So we come to the hospital. In the hospital, he's in a coma, and the ex-wife and kids are there, and they're like asking us, "What are you doing here?" I said, I'm the rabbi. He's part of our community, and they had no idea of his Jewish background, and they thought that he was scamming us because I was still thinking of him in his former life, or we were scamming him, one or the other. And they told the hospital, no Jews allowed to go visit him. So I was actually a chaplain in the hospital. I just went after visiting hours. So, I said some Tillim there, different things, but there were many other people. He had lots of very close friends. He really became an integral part of the small community. And after a few days, he wakes out of the coma with like an energy, and he tells his son his whole story. That's how it's his mother's mother, which, they sort of jogged the memory, they knew. And he's told him how he's part of the shul, and he wants to have a Jewish burial. The son called me up and apologized, said everyone can come visit him. And people came. So I went, I brought one of, my sons, and he was in such good spirits and energy. We thought he's coming home tomorrow. It ended up, he was out of the coma for about 3.5 hours. And they fell back in the coma. He passed away the next day. Today's the yahrzeit. Well, actually, Shabbos was the yahrzeit. So I mentioned it. Today was the yahrzeit to dedicate the schus of our learning in his memory. He should shamash have an aliyah. But two things, that I'd like to take from and share. Number one is that some people say, seemingly it's not fair. He finally got his life the way it should be, and Hashem took him away. And my feeling at the time was on the contrary. Hashem gave him the merit that he was able to reconnect and with his Yiddishkeit and take on his mitzvahs. He was given the opportunity before he passed away. That's number one. But number two, I think him waking up from the coma just for a short period and because of that, he was able to have a proper Jewish tahara, a proper Jewish burial. I think is absolutely miraculous. And was tremendous thing. As he doesn't have family, I took on, I say Kaddish for him. on the yard site. But so Yehuda ben Avram. So we'll dedicate the learning today, and Shalom will have an aliyah. So we are similar.
Amazing story.
Yeah, it is an amazing story. The Baal Shem Tov says there's no such thing as an accident.
That's right. So all the little things that happened, and, for a new glass door and a broke, they broke the windows of my car also, and my sister's car. I was borrowing my sister's car. They smashed up my sister's car. That's all right. Insurance gave her a new one. That was okay. My sister wasn't complaining. So, Simon, your base chapter.
Rabbi, before we start, a real fast question.
Yeah.
Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. It starts on when the first four paragraphs are general things, not necessarily pertaining to Jews, and then the fifth section, it starts to talk about Tikkun Chatzos. Yeah. So would it be permissible for a non-Jew to learn the first four paragraphs?
Well, I would put it to you that it is really for Jews, but having said that, probably they could too. Right? In general, for just give background to the question. So non-Jews aren't meant to study Torah except for the parts of Torah that are applicable for them. So there's the 7 mitzvahs, but one of the mitzvahs they have is to believe in Hashem. So could be large parts of Hasidic philosophy they need to study, in order to understand what Hashem is and believe into Hashem and various things. But
like it talks about modality.
Yeah, well, see, they probably don't need to say modality, but the concept behind it to recognize as a creator, yeah, it's because if I wanted to teach someone about Hashem, they encourage to learn with B'nai Noach, with non-Jews, Shar Yichud B'Emunah and Tanya. That's to give them an idea of belief in Hashem.
Yeah, this person is my health aide that comes to my house. And
okay.
she's very spiritually inclined, and she says Baruch Hashem, and she's into it. But
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, right?
Yeah, so by all means, we get that to share with those around us. So we mentioned we did number 1. We said that a person should present themselves. They should prepare themselves. The pasuk implies a person should prepare themselves to greet Hashem. So we should prepare ourselves. We should wear nice clothes. And again, that doesn't mean you have to wear, $10,000 suits. A person should look presentable when they daven. They should have clean clothes and various things. And so number 2. It's good to give tzedakah before we daven. Watch now, as it says, "Ani b'tzedek echazeh panecha." With righteousness, I behold your presence. So we started this one last time, but we didn't get to.
Are we on Yud Bet or Yud Gimel?
We're in chapter Yud base, Yud Bet, and we're in number 2.
I have up to 5, number 5. צריך לרחוץ את ידיו במים.
I don't think I think we're in the number 2, middle of number 2 yesterday, last time. Unless I might make a mistake. Anyone? Well, like this.
Okay.
If we're only up, if we're up to where I think we are, it's good revision.
It's a repetition, yeah, that's good.
A good revision. But if we skip ahead out of doubt, then we'll miss something. So this way we'll do revision. So I apologize. In advance if I got it wrong. Yeah, so we should give tzedakah. Also, before we daven, we should accept upon ourselves the mitzvah of hafta l'recha kamocha, to love our fellow Jew like ourselves. And the tension of that statement is that we should love every other Jew like our own life, our own soul. And in reality, all our souls are connected. All our souls in its source. We mentioned last week, it's not our entire soul that's enclosed in our body. Part of our soul is not actually clothed in our body. It's above, it has influence. And at that level, or part of that level, all the souls are connected. So it's really like every Jew is like a branch or a twig off the one tree. It's all connected into one entity. And we should really feel that. If God forbid there's separation between Jews below, Jews aren't getting on, they're arguing, fighting with each other, God forbid. Then what happens? This affects our unity up above as well. And the opposite is true. When we have unity, even in our bodies, right? Because our bodies is what separates us. But so despite our bodies, we have unity below. This causes a stronger unity and a cleaving of our souls above. And through this happening, our tefillos, our prayers become unified. So it's not just what I'm asking for, or what Yankel down the road is asking for. It's all of us together becomes one massively powerful prayer. As the same all the prayers become inclusive of each other. And this makes it much more favorable, much more desirable, acceptable for Hashem, because it's this nuclear powered tefillah. Okay. Gimel. So Gimel is going to refer back to what we said before, right? Before, when we learned about the laws going to the bathroom. So we're going to mention this as well. Oh, you know what? Oh, you're right. We did do this. We are up to number 5. Oh, number 4, actually. So let's just summarize number 3 to get the flow. He said that since it says you should guard your feet when you go to the house of Hashem, and feet is just a euphemism, a polite reference to the openings of the body, near the legs. So a person should go to the bathroom before they daven. Okay, so Dalid is, so if we have a person, and again this is a repetition of what we mentioned before, we have a person that when they're wearing tefillin and they're davening, they can't fluctuate, they can't so if they're worried that they're not able to do that, they're not well, they have health issues and various things. So if they're going to wait till they're able to put on tefillin and daven, they're going to miss the time of Shema and the davening. So it's better, if they have to go to the bathroom, it's better to let the time of Shema and the davening pass and go to the bathroom, rather than daven with I guess we'll loosely call it unclean body. And if that's the case, it's considered the circumstances beyond their control. It's not their fault, and therefore it's not a problem. So number 5, hey. You have to wash your hands before you daven. Now, even if your hands aren't dirty, right? I mean, but it's respect, and respectful, and also we may have touched parts of our body that are normally covered, or our shoes, or may have touched something. And so we wash our hands before davening, up to the wrist. So even though you wash your hands in the morning, we did negelvasa next to our bed, we washed again after we got dressed, and we've gone to shul. If after washing your hands we touched a place in our body that's not clean, for example, the places of our body that are normally covered, has a sweat, we scratched the head, or if we weren't able to wash all the way to our wrist because there was a lack of water, any of these circumstances, we have to wash our hands again before davening. So sometimes, today, Baruch Hashem, every shul you go to, there's running water, there's on tap. But there was a time where if there was shul in the water, that meant someone had to go to the well and schlap it to the shul, and it didn't always happen. So if there's not water, you have to travel 4 miles in the direction you're traveling, just because you're on the road, or go back, trace your steps a mile to find the water. And if you're worried, you're concerned that due to chasing after the water, you're going to miss the time for davening. You wipe your hands on wood or a rock or something, and you daven. As it says, it says, I will wash my hands in purity, etc. Means you wash if possible. Love is not possible. Just cleanliness is any substance that cleans is good enough. Okay. 6. Vav. So you washed your hands properly in the morning. Good. Step 1. And you don't know if they became soiled because you weren't paying attention to your hands. People aren't thinking every moment, what am I touching? What am I doing? We do a lot of things in autopilot, for better or worse. So you washed it properly. You're not aware that you touched anything. Nevertheless, since you weren't paying attention to what you're doing with your hands, I feel Lama bin assignment, even if you're studying Torah in between, starting before davening. This is also not paying attention to your hands. So therefore, you need to wash them before davening. But in that situation, you don't have to pursue the water. If there's no water prepared, available, and if you're going to start chasing after them, you're going to be late for the minyan. You just wipe your hands on whatever's available, the table or something, and that's good enough, and you're done with the minyan. Okay. Zion, number 7. A person should make a serious effort to daven with the minyan. Dichsiv, as it says, right? As for me, my prayer to you, Hashem, will be at a favorable time. That's how we should daven. What's considered a favorable time? What does that mean in that verse? What it means is the time when everyone else is davening, when the congregation is davening. So as we said before, when everyone's together, it's more powerful. And it says, it also says, so said Hashem, at a favorable time I've answered you. And again, what's the favorable time we're speaking about? When the tzibur, the congregation, all the people davening. Now, the Ein Kodesh Baruch Hu moist philosophem shel rabbim. Kodesh Baruch Hu, Hashem, the Holy One, blessed be He, does not reject the prayers of the community. So when we come as an individual with our advantages and disadvantages, we've all got our thing. So we get looked at individually, and sometimes we pass muster, and sometimes we don't.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
davening nates is more effective for davening shachrit than davening in a later minyan. I would assume because of the fire that's associated with the sun rising. If I'm not mistaken, this is what am I correct on that?
Okay. Political issue perhaps is not the right term, but this is there's so just so everyone else will answer the question, there is an advantage to davening at nights. Nights means sunrise. So what happens is you start early and you say Shema just before sunrise, and then you start the Shemon Esrei, the Amidah at sunrise. And that is probably for a variety of reasons, in the ideal world, that would be the best time to daven. Now, there is a view, or there's that many people express, that they say that it is better to daven at night, daven at this preferred time, even without a minyan, than to daven at a different time with a minyan. Now, most people give the source of that as the Mishnah Brura. Now, I got to say, and maybe I'm wrong, and, I don't know everything. The way I understood seems to me when you read the Mishnah Brura there, he's talking about someone who davens nights every day with a minyan. Or doesn't say that, but that's, I believe, his implication. And he's one day traveling, or for whatever reason, doesn't have to be traveling, whatever reason, today he has a choice. He can continue davening at nights without a minyan, or he davens at a different time with a minyan. Then this person who always davens nights, he should daven nights even without a minyan. I don't believe he's saying that a person every day for his entire life, or large chunks of his life, should daven nights without a minyan when there's another minyan available. So, again, the Mishnah Brura is written by the Chofetz Chaim. I never met him, right? Passed away in the 1930s. I never had a chance to discuss the issue with him. So I'm not going to tell you 100% that that's the intention of what's written there, but I believe from the context that is the meaning of what he writes. In other words, the simple wording is that he says someone who davens nights every day, it's better to daven nights without a minyan than to daven different time with a minyan. But I believe from the context that's referring to someone davens nights every day, there's a nights minyan. For whatever reason, today there's not a minyan available for him to go at this time. So better he should daven at nights today. And I don't believe the intention is that a person, it's better to daven nights every single day without a minyan, never done with a minyan. So that's the there are people who swear blindly that the Chofetz Chaim is saying you should daven better never done with a minyan your entire life and daven at nights. But and also when you look at other places where the Chofetz Chaim writes about the importance of davening with a minyan. Besides that, I think that's the meaning of that phrase. So so that's number one. So so if we take it like how I think it goes, that someone, even though it's really important done with a minyan, but davening at this time, which has more to do with saying Shema at that time, or just as much to do with saying Shema at time as does to davening at that time, that's he always does that. So it's a very powerful time to daven, and so you should keep doing it. Yeah, so I didn't really answer your question. I just changed your question.
No. You answered my question, Rabbi. Thank
Yeah. So I you know, I have met people, they live in a frum community where there's multiple minyanim, and they never go to a weekday minyan their entire life, or Shabbos for sure, never time life, because they daven nates. I really am not sure that I don't believe that's what the Mishnah Berurah is saying. Now, it could be other people say something, I don't know, but people who bring the Mishnah Berurah as a source, I don't think that's the point he's making, and I'm sorry if I burst anyone's bubble about it. So we don't want to put anything down that people are trying to do. They're trying to be positive, but it's just I'm not opinionated. All right. Anyway, so
Rabbi, is that your opinion?
that I'm not opinionated, yeah, that's my opinion. That's right. So, so each one of us as an individual, maybe we don't quite pass the line, but when we come as a group, what I'm lacking, my weakness, is someone else's strength, and we cover for each other. I hate to trivialize spirituality by comparing it to sport, but I think looking at the idea of a team sport is a very good example. There was this, not to give people a rugby education, but there was this a player, they used to call him the prince of his position. Anyway, he was a point scoring machine, but it meant that his defense was lacking because he was exhausted from all his points. So they had this other guy who was partnered with him, used to just tackle. It was like a tackling machine. And what they did is between the two of them, their club side was almost undefeated for 11 years. Which is something. So in a team sport, it's where you got a weakness in one area to be a successful team. Another player has to have a strength to it counteracts it. So without trivializing the spirituality, but we're saying on a certain level is what we're saying here. So when we come as a sipper, so where one person is lacking, someone else in the congregation or someone else in the group maybe have a strength in that area. And so as a group, we have a high level, very good prayer that's coming through. And even if you have people who are really lacking, often they probably translate the word chaitim as sinners. That's such a Christian word I hate to use, but we're saying even people who are currently on quite a low spiritual level, or seemingly, if they're part of the group makes up for them. The exhibit says, and kel kabir lo yemos. Right? He's when Hashem, the multitude, the meaning of the word multitude, kabir means that he doesn't despise anyone. It says, my soul was redeemed in peace from the impending battle for the sake of the many that were with me. It's from Psalms, from Tillim. But again, this idea of that an individual can be saved because of the group, right? The group's merits, and so a person should really try as much as possible to done with a minyan when they can. Okay, test number 8.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
these two players that you described, it reminds me of Yisachar and Zevulun.
Yeah. So we have Yitzchok and Zevulun, the two tribes. He wasn't individuals; though; it was whole tribes, two whole tribes, and one, the land was on the coast, and they were in a position to trade and commerce, and were very wealthy. And their partner tribe, who was next to them, was a little bit inland, but they were a tribe of Torah scholars, and they said to them, you know what? You dedicate your entire time to study, and we'll support you with our wealth. And but we'll split the merit of the Torah study, 50-50. And also they did. And and today when people sponsor Koil or Torah scholars, different things, they call it a Yisachar Zavulun relationship, a partnership. They borrow the term. That's what they have.
So here, these two players made a partnership. One scored the
Right.
points, and the other played defense. And
Yeah,
the team was successful because of the partnership of the two of them.
Yeah. I don't think it was altruistic for the team, though. I think it was for the paycheck and the trophies. But we'll leave it aside. We'll leave it aside. I could be wrong. The truth is, maybe I'm misjudging them. That's what happened. That's all right. Ches number 8. Hahoylech b'derech. Someone's going on a trip. He's traveling. So when you're at home, hopefully you can organize live in a Jewish neighborhood, and there's minyanim, and there's all these things, and a person has the various benefits of being in a functioning Jewish community. But sometimes people are traveling. Now, the Gila Mokim Shuroitz Sham, and you reach the place where you want to stay the night. Now, Im Yesh of Ad Arba Mila Mokim Shpal Sibur, but if ahead of you, up to 4 miles, there's a place where there's a minyan. Im Yachlava Shama, but if you can get there while it's still daylight, even though you want to lodge over here, because you don't want people, today maybe people happen. Today's not so bad in many areas to drive at night. In a car and the street lights and various things. But those days people are traveling, however, they're traveling by foot, by horse. We don't want people traveling alone at night. So if they can still get there by day. He has to go forward and always just go out of his way. 4 miles. Done with the minyan. So when we say 4 miles, really the time it takes to walk 4 miles. Which is approximately 72 minutes. All right. So in concept, if you could drive the distance you could drive in that time, it's also, if possible. Some places, when we're in Florida recently, you could get about 1 mile in the car in 72 minutes in the traffic in some of those streets. That was would have been quicker to walk. But that's the time we go. So in other words, we're seeing that a person should inconvenience himself. Even. Okay, we're not saying go totally out of the way. We're talking about going in the direction you're planning to go eventually. And we're going to talk about backwards, 18 minutes backwards, a quarter of that. But inconvenience oneself a little bit to try and get to the minyan if we can. Obviously, unfortunately, there are still places in the world where it's dangerous to go out at night also. So be like I said, in Shulchan Aruch. So Sarach, so Acharav and backwards, Sarach Lasso a mil. Go back 1 mil, which is at approximately 18 minutes, in order to done with the minyan. Become mokim nevertheless. You shouldn't leave a place where there's a minyan. If you can still stay over, if it's a place that you could stay overnight, daven in the morning, and still get to your destination or the next stage of your destination during the daytime, a person shouldn't leave that place the day before. A person should stay over. It's one of the reasons why Florida, as an example, talking about 60s, became originally, a holiday place for a lot of from people, because the place you can go on holidays, on vacation, and there's a minyan. Right, they have a similar area in Australia. They call it the Gold Coast. Right, Surfers Paradise is the main city in the Gold Coast. So it's a shul there. Again, you have a lot of people go there, especially in the winter. It's very pleasant winter weather compared to everywhere else. And there's a shul, so people go there. All right, number 9. Not many questions today. right. Number 9. Mitzvah gedoyel is palol v'beis knesses v'beis midrash shem mekaymis mikdoshim. Now, it's a big mitzvah to daven in a shul. There's different types of shul. Beis knesses is a shul that's only used for davening. Beis midrash is a shul that's used for davening and learning. And often today, the terms are just interchangeable because people, but technically that's what it means. So there's an idea to daven in that place. We're talking about for sure if there is a minyan, but even if there wasn't a minyan, why? Because the holy places, the places where there's been lots of davening there, there's been lots of learning, there's lots of mitzvahs happen there, and it creates a spiritual energy, and a person can tap into that when they daven. So, even for whatever reason a person missed the minyan, it's still an idea to daven in shul. The filim in the palm is battle. And even if it happens that sometimes there's no minyan, change on minyan, because nevertheless, Mrs. Palasham Gambichidis, each person should still daven in the shul even alone. Because the holy places. So that's there. Now, Mishadarka Lilma Beis Midrash. Someone who normally davens in a Beis Midrash. So a Beis Midrash, again today, probably most shuls would technically be a Beis Midrash. Unless it said Beis Knesset is places only davening, strictly only davening. Beis Midrash is there's davening and there's learning. So Beis Midrash, in a certain respect, is considered more holy because there's also the learning there. So most shuls today, if there's regular adult education classes and there's guest speakers and you could even say the sermon, for lack of a better term, on Shabbos, it's all considered learning. Lots of things happen. So probably most of our shuls today are technically Beis Midrash. So if he learns there, Yispalo Gamkain Shama Basar Afapi Sheyesh Iroi Gam Beis Knesses. If there's a minyan to daven with there, he should daven there, even though there's a shul dedicated just for davening in the city. But someone who is not studying the Beis Midrash, Yispalo Beis Knesses. He should go to the shul because there's more people. Again, I don't know if that's really the case today. They used to have these small little Beis Midrashes and like a large synagogue, very large in the city. It's not necessarily the case today. But when it is for a person, so if he's learning the Beis Midrash, so you got a minyan, learn there, the daven there. That's where you learn daven there also. But if you're just going to shul, you're not studying there, at least at the moment. Better to go to the primary shul with V'roiv Am Hadras Melech, because for the majority of people, it gives more glory to the king. Right. So when I was rabbi in Brisbane, for example, there's two shuls, two Orthodox congregations, and in a car they went far apart, but it wasn't walking distance. So obviously we had our minyan showers, they had minyan showers. We were two different shuls. But Purim, a time where you can drive to celebrate Purim, we did combined. Not just to combine the community. There's lots of things you can do to combine the community. But the idea of reading the Megillah with this concept of Rav Am Hadras Melech, with more people, it's the glory to the king. It's a greater respect and towards Hashem by having the large crowd. So this is the idea. Now the im yesh be'iroi shnei batakin siyos. If you have in your city two shuls, right? The one you daven in, the one you don't set foot in. No, chas v'shalom. But if you have two shuls, so everyone's probably thinking in their mind, I go to the one that's convenient. But says the Shulchan Aruch, Yelech l'harachik, you should go to the one that's further away. Because now you get reward for traveling, for walking. Again, cities weren't big like they are today. Shtetl was, you had two shuls there, so instead of walking 1 mile, instead of walking half a mile, you walk 1 mile, so it's not the end of the world. Today, big cities, of course, if you go to the furthest shul in your city, it's probably further you can walk in a day. But in concept, If there's one person, it shouldn't just be convenience. If the closer one has other things, maybe the minions at a better time for you. There's shurim, there's classes that you want to go to, so that's fine. But in concept, if they were just equal, when possible, sometimes it's better to go the ones a bit further. And so I'm Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, one of the sages of the Talmud, he says, "L'olam yashim adam the basic Knesses. Person should always get up early to go to shul. Why? He should try and be one of the first 10. Because even if 100 people come after him, this minion has 150 people. Being one of the first 10, he takes the reward equal of all of them by making the original minion. And our sages Talmud also tell us, whoever travels to the shul for the morning, afternoon, evening services, the right time is Achasham Karoi, and remains there a little bit, studying or whatever. And he conducts himself with the appropriate holiness and respectfulness there. This person has merits a long life, or longer life than he would have otherwise. The exhibit says, Ashrei Adam Shme'eli Lish Kaid Al Deloisi Yom Yom Nishmoy Mesuzasi Bechasi. Fortunate is a man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting by the post on my door. And right after that it says, Ki Moitzi Motzachaim. And whoever finds me finds life. So we see from these two verses that one who is in the shul at those times gets extra life. So now we know we're in shul. Now, where in shul should you sit? Right? You have the shuls hand out. Yom Kippur, where would you like your seat? In the non-smoking section, in the sports discussing section, the business discussing. What do you want? Like, God forbid any of those. So
not by the door.
Yeah, not by the door. Yesh loy la'adam dikaboya loy beis knesses beis hamidrash l'spalo sham mekavius. A person should select a shul where he davens regularly. Try and daven regularly in the same place. And should also try and have a set place in the shul. That's the place where you daven every day. Anything in a 6-foot radius, that's considered in the same place. Doesn't have to be, if to measure, this dot on the floor, that's my place in the general vicinity. But just try and have a set place. And ideally, a person should have a place next to the wall. If you can find a place next to the wall, that's ideal. Why? Because we find about King Chezkiyahu, when he davened, it says, he turned his face towards the wall. In other words, there was no distractions. So it doesn't have to be a wall. It doesn't have to be a wall necessarily, but a place where there's not distractions. Right? So as Ben said, not right by the door, where people are coming and going. Now, sometimes it's a mitzvah to be by the door. There's always got to be one guy who sits by the door of the shul that welcomes new people and shows them where they can find a seat and get a sitter, and shows them the place and greets them. And people should feel welcomed when they come into a shul. So there's got to be someone by the door there. But if that's not our job, right? If we're trying to just find a place to daven undisturbed, so every shul has a different layout, and sometimes there aren't many walls. The place we can daven undisturbed. And it's not good to sit or stand near an evil person. Now, hopefully in most shuls, there's not many evil people. It's just to give extreme examples, unfortunately, there was a period of time where in America, you had Jewish people involved in mafia, and did whatever had to be, whatever being in the mafia required one to do. At Yom Kippur, on the parents' yard side, they also came to shul. Perhaps that's not the best person to. The truth is, a Jew is a Jew, and if you can influence the positive, that's great. But most people, there are some. Everyone has the potential to become the change of their environment, but most people find that difficult, and they let the environment affect them. So it's best to be with people who are going to uplift you. And sometimes there might be, whether it's acquaintances or family or certain friends we had, and there's certain people that they always, the negative energy, they're damaging. And there's certain people that you're around, and they're so uplifting. So, if possible, we should try and sit with the right people. If we daven in a home, which as important it is, daven the shul with a minyan, there's going to be times it happens to be daven in a home. Should daven in a place where you're not going to be disturbed by your family. So, best not to daven where the 2-year-olds are playing. And it doesn't have to be 2-year-olds, but in the middle of the dining room when everyone's home, and it's maybe it's not the best place. It can be a little distracting. Was a man who he used to brag that when he davens, nothing disturbs his concentration. And he can daven in the noisiest place. And he used to sometimes daven in the marketplace, and there's all this noise going on, and seemingly he's just totally unaffected. So someone wanted to test him. So he takes a pin, and during the davening, he poked him 5 times, different times during davening with the pin. The guy didn't flinch. And after he finished davening, the man said to him, "Wow, I'm impressed." He says, "Yes, you poked me 5 times, and I never even noticed." That's what happened. So even if we can make it look like we're not disturbed by our surroundings, we are. Yeah, David.
Yeah, with the Makam Kavua, the designated place. So I think it's brought down in maybe the Big Shulchan Aruch and other places that the reason that a person has an established place is because he, or maybe it's here, that he's able to, he doesn't feel he can concentrate so easily in other places, and he needs that designated place. And I remember in shul when I would say, "This is my designated place," they would view it as the opposite. Instead of being instead of being that the person needs this designated place for positive reasons, they would view it as I need this designated place for negative reasons. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy, he needs he's got his designated place. It's a big shot. It's not because it's that, it's because
Shulchan Aruch says you're meant to.
Right.
That's right. You have your place, and also you get comfortable in place. If always, let's say you're davened on one side of the shul, and all of a sudden now, for whatever reason, today you're on the other side of the shul, and there's this window there that you never normally look at that window because you're on the other side of the shul. So the natural tendency is to start, having a little stare at the window. What's that? Oh wow, you can see all the traffic. It looks exciting. So when you're in your set place, first of all, things aren't disturbed because you're used to it. There's nothing you're exciting, and there's certain, I don't know if comfort's the right word, but when you're able to focus more. It's a good thing. That's right. Having a set place is a good thing when possible. There's certain places where you can't, and there's certain shuls that have a policy, because unfortunately you get people who get kicked out of seats and visit, and then it becomes not nice. There's certain shuls have a policy where first come, first served. So, whatever, work it out. Ben.
Yeah, so if you come a little late and somebody's sitting in your seat, you just go to another seat.
I would. I mean, it looks. First of all, it depends. Look, there's some places you go, and if you don't take your seat, you don't get a seat.
Oh,
And maybe you need to direct them. And if it's not late, but you came and they were early, maybe there's people came for a bar mitzvah and they're there, and you can say to them, oh, there's a spare seat over there. Politely can direct. But if I came late and someone's in my seat, I especially if they're visitors.
it's usually a visitor
Yeah,
because the regulars are not going to do that.
that's right. I feel. I'm not saying you can't. At the end of the day, it's your seat. Particularly a lot of places you paid for it. You do have a right, to say. But I always feel I don't know. I'd rather be. So first of all, I try not to come late. That doesn't mean
Right.
it never happens. But usually, I'm not late.
I'm usually early.
And Baruch Hashem, at the time that does happen, and I again, every place is different, but I'd be hesitant to make someone feel uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
David.
Because sometimes you move from your designated place and you let somebody else sit there and go to another place. But then when you get to that place, you realize I don't want to sit there because that's somebody else's designated place.
Yeah. But
So
if you're one of the regulars, you normally know which seat
right,
you
so
can
I'm
take. Or sometimes you don't get there's no seat. I'm always sitting in the back row. Not because I like sitting in the back row, but one of my kids likes to sit in the back row. He likes stuff. So if someone takes our seats, the only place is take a spare seat and just put it against the bookshelf. There's no more seats.
Because sometimes it's not that the person throws me out of the designated place. I'm sensitive to somebody else's designated place.
That's right.
And I know that's his place, so I don't want to sit there.
Yeah.
And then I'm going from spot to spot to spot. I don't have a spot. So
is someone else asking? Someone asked a question?
Yeah, Moshe.
I wanted to say, in Brooklyn, I went to a show, and there's a stender almost at every spot. Everybody's got a stender there, and you know not to sit there. You know not to sit there because he's got his toilet there, he's got his fill in there, and he's got a stender there, and his forum there. You just don't take that spot. I mean, even if you come in early, you never know.
That's right, but a lot of places not like that. You don't know.
Yeah.
I went to a show once. It was not like formal seating. It was like there was like tables and chairs. It was a very relaxed sort of place, and I think someone told me you can sit anywhere. They're thinking, oh, I sat somewhere. This guy, he didn't talk to me for like almost a year, and I found out, like 9 months afterwards, it's because when I went to that chill, I sat in his seat. Some people are very. So it greatly offended. I apologized to him. I didn't know it was. I apologize. If I would know as you seen him, would have sat there. You did know. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. So what are you going to do? So sometimes guys like that, you don't lose anything when they don't talk to you for a year. Sometimes you're better off. But but who wants to upset someone when you can avoid it?
Yes.
What about if somebody sits behind you and kind of kicks the chair because it has nervous feet or something?
The bouncers. Yeah, you have those guys.
Right? Happened to me a few weeks ago.
Yeah. What can you do? David.
Very, very disturbing.
Yeah.
But the first time when I first arrived in 770 for the Rebbe's for bringing, and I was a young guy, and I go to this place, and everybody's taking their place, and I go to this place. I see that there's people, there's empty spots. So I go to this place, and the guy says to me, "You're in my place," and he throws me out of the spot. And after the Farbrengen, the guy came over to me and says, "That guy just arrived today. He has no spot."
Oi. The first time I was away for Reagan was I came early. I took a place where I thought I could see well. I was not aware there was this people had their places, and I wouldn't say that they're not going to kill you for being in the place. It's at the end of the day, it's all from nice people, but you could be forcibly removed being in someone's place. It could happen. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden a whole group of people come. And one says, "That's my place." And without having the slightest idea what that meant, I put down my arm because I was standing up. I reached down to them. So there's plenty of room for all of us. And they laughed and let me stay. It was only afterwards I found out that I had violated a law. But anyway, so that's how it goes. So we ran out of time for today. So I wish everyone a wonderful afternoon. We should find the shul where we feel we belong, with the people, or like-minded people who want to grow the same way we want to grow. And we should find our little spot there next to the people who we want to done with. And we should be able to be in an environment where we can feel we can grow and pour out our heart to Hashem.
And be comfortable.
Yeah, but be comfortable while we're doing it.
We should all find our place in the world.
I always say a shul needs a nice library, good air conditioning, and a good coffee machine.
Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi.
No problem. It's a wonderful week and wonderful Shabbos.
Good day, everybody.
Thank you.